All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. If you haven't done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, let's get into it today. So markets here today, hanging in there nicely. So spiders are up just under 40 basis points. Qs are up 1.1%. And it's really, we actually have negative breadth again, and it is kind of the big tech show. Microsoft up 1.2. Google up 82 basis points. Meta, Amazon having a decent day. And the big winner here is Datadog. So reporting earnings there up almost 30%. Actually was up 30% on the day before pulling back there. That's also helping out stocks like Snowflake at a sympathy bid up 10% there. That's actually coming in off of this little trend line there. So that getting a little long in the tooth. I believe they have earnings later this month. And obviously the IGV cloud software getting a big leg up because of that, up 2%. Adobe up 3.6%. Oracle actually bringing up the rear there, but that is into some resistance. So again, big tech show. We see Apple there up 1.6%. That's having a good day as well. We talked about Microsoft. This is coming in a double top and getting really extended. We actually day traded this yesterday in the trading room. But take a look at that. 1, 2, 3 days, 4 days outside, completely outside of its Bollinger Band, like the entire candle. I can't go back and find anything like that on Microsoft, really in recent memory here. But every time it gets outside of that, it's due for a pullback. Now, we know the markets are due for a pullback, right? Everyone does. I talked about the NQ earlier. I said the next area would be 15.4. We're right there, maybe 15,450. You've got that pivot there. If we look at the triple Qs, it is right into, I would say about 375 is going to be your max move. But a lot of people looking at this trend line, myself included, thinking that we would pull back yesterday. And there's a lot of people looking for a pull. Everybody is, right? The bulls are looking for, the bears are looking for a pullback. That's why we're going higher, right? So sometimes they got to go a little bit higher than you think, especially when everybody expects it. But right now, looking back at the SPX, we're looking for 4,400, right? And that's probably where it's going to go. You got the 100 moving average, red bar, and that pivot. So I think that's got to get hit before any sort of meaningful level. And then the triple Qs, right around that 375 handle, there's pretty good daily chart resistance. And, and to be fair, I mean, weekly as well. But markets are holding up here. And that's really all that matters right now. Again, breadth is not the greatest. Seeing definitely a few sectors are red. But, the market's having a good day. And again, that's the magic of market cap waiting. Markets are floating up here. We got about 20 minutes left in the day. And we're still, basically pushing at the highs of the day. So again, tells me that there's some people trying to short still. And maybe they need to be weeded out. Maybe we need a gap up tomorrow. But you guys know the levels that I'm looking for there on the charts. And we'll see what we get tomorrow here. IWM, again, here's a good example. Breadth, not the greatest. In fact, take a look. It was only green for about 10 minutes today. And then came right back down. Now it's hovering just underneath the flat line. They might turn it green here by the end of the day. But either way, not the greatest showing there for the Russell 2000. Again, that trend line held up really nicely. I didn't have the guts to short it. But, would have been a good level there, at least for a quick trade. On the downside, you had the 50 moving average above it that you could lean into as well. This may go down there and fill that gap and ultimately fill this one too at some point. But again, markets are holding up. Dow here making a higher high. So again, probably wants that 100 MA. If we can get through that, I'd say, probably 345 is max move. I don't even think it gets that high, but that's kind of where I think the max move is. And why I say that is, that's where your reversal took place and your breakdown. So that's really going to be the big resistance. I don't even know if we get there. You've got a little bit before there's a gap at 344 or 32. So I don't even know if we get there. And we might not even get through the 100 moving average. But if we get up there, that's going to be a level to watch. And again, the Dow did fill out that head and shoulder target very nicely. I was just really hoping for one more little flush in this market. We just never quite got there. But again, Dow up 0.25%. Semiconductors up 86 basis points. This is going into resistance now. It might even peak a little bit above that. You definitely can't rule that out. But, you get into this red bar here, this reversal bar, and, that reversal candle. And that coinciding with this trend line, as well as coinciding with, you know, that 375 area and 4400 on the spiders or the SPX. Probably going to be a good resistance level. We talked about that already. So we'll watch for that over the next couple of days here. But semis having a good day, and it's really a tech-driven rally as usual. IGV we talked about already. I'll give that the upside bias to 360, so that's fine. And what I like about this is it made a higher high. So 357.62, and the high of the day here was 350. Yeah, 358.49. So a slight higher high. That's a sign of strength. Doesn't mean that it's a buy right now. You definitely don't want to buy it into resistance, but it's strong and it should be respected here. So IGV will give the upside bias to 359, 360. And we'll see from there into that down-sloping trend line there. Dow Transport's on the weaker side. So again, another weak sector. Down 16 basis points, nothing crazy. But again, in a market that's up, you know, almost 0.5%, the Q's up 1.1. Again, not showing a lot of leadership, not showing a lot of strength. Didn't take out yesterday's low. I said it needs to, you know, hold that. Otherwise, we're going to go test lower prices here. And obviously, it's above that on a closing basis regardless, but it's holding that 20 MA, which is important. This could easily put in a pattern here too and just go sideways. There's nothing wrong with the transports here. I still think they're eventually going to come down and fill this gap in the not too distant future. But ultimately, I'm looking for, you know, 14.8, you know, and then right up into this area would be kind of your secondary target around 15.2. So transport's kind of hanging in there okay, still lagging the market though. Interest rates here on the day. So I think we had 3-year notes come out today. Tomorrow's a big one though. We have the 10-year and then we have the 30-year on Thursday. That could be market moving. So watch for that. But right now, 2-year coming back in just a little bit here. Nothing crazy, right? Down just 2 pennies there. 5-year down 2 pennies. Or, you know, 2 basis points rather, whatever. We could be making a case here. It's early, it's premature, but we broke this trend line, right, on both of these. And if you stay inside of this red, you could make a case you're starting to put in a bear pattern, right? It's only 2 candles right now, so we can't really entertain it just yet. But if we stay inside of this and we go sideways, you're probably setting up a move to 4.6. For the 5-year, you know, we're setting up a move to, I'll just say 4.2 for now. So watch those. The 10-year as well. 10-year is a little bit weaker, so long end a little bit weaker, but we have the auction tomorrow, so just be aware of that. I still think it doesn't matter. I think we go down to 4.35 based on the fact that we did chart damage and made that lower low. Nothing wrong with backing and filling. Same thing with the 30-year. Looking for this 50 MA to break. Again, you don't want this. If it's strong, the 50 MA should act like fuel, right? It should do this, right? And there's nothing to say it can't do that, but it should be quick. You don't want to go sideways here and set up a bear base or move down to 4.42. So just be aware of that. Interest rates still coming in a little bit here. And again, bonds getting a relief bid. A lot of bond shorts out there. They can still get squeezed. Just be aware of that. That does not make me a long-term bond bull. Again, I know I've said that 1,000 times, but it's important because I'll get people in the comments freaking out. 55-cent gain here for XHB. So that's holding up okay. Holding the 50 moving average. Again, this is still a little long in the tooth. I'd prefer some, you know, a pullback maybe to that 200 MA, fill that gap there, clean that chart up a little bit. But right now, it's hanging in there okay. And again, it's one of the sectors that isn't tech related that is green today. And we'll give it that. VNQ, you can guess that is lower. Still remains a laggard. Looks like we did fill that gap there, 75, 78. Yep, so just filled it by 5 pennies. We'll see what kind of pattern we get tomorrow. I'm not doing anything with this here. I would, again, prefer this to fill out that gap there. But again, so far, that yellow trend line is held. So you could make a case here too that that big outside candle last week, you can make a case all that was just a retrace to that level at this current time because we have not changed the trend here. You don't have higher lows to go off of. You do have the higher high, but you don't have the higher lows yet. So just be aware of that. XLF here hanging in there okay. It is down on the day, but nothing terrible here. This can consolidate and push up. Still a little long in the tooth here in the short term, but it's hanging in there fine. And we'll leave it at that. As long as financials are holding up, the market's generally going to hold up. KRE pulling back as well. Nothing terrible here, but you don't want to lose 42 because then we have to go back and test 40 again. But it's hanging in there just fine. ABE, same thing. Coming close to that gap and then coming off the lows okay. XBD here, that looks fine. If this consolidates, you can go to 490. Energy here, crude down 4% on the day. So big slice there for crude. You know, I talked about the 200 moving average. You know, this was something I may have, well, I was looking to scalp here, but I'm glad I decided to stand aside there. I don't like that bear pattern, right? I talked about this yesterday. Down move could be a bear flag, and we're pushing down. Now that doesn't mean we can't be right back up tomorrow. A lot of the time when you slice that 200, they'll get a lot of shorts on board, and then they'll you know they'll start it down tomorrow, then they'll take it back up. Watch for something like that. I've seen that happen many times. But right now, crude trend is back down below the moving averages, and you got to respect it. On the weekly, we're testing this trend line here. And the 50-week moving average. So if it can get a bounce by the end of the week and hold that, then maybe you can trap some shorts and get a rebound to, we'll say 84. If this continues, you know, if we come up here and back test it and we stay down and start flagging, it's going to 75. I do like it at 75. So we'll see, you know, if and when we get in there. But that's the scoop on crude right now. Getting hit here down 4% with a war going on, 2 wars. XLE down 2%. So lower lows there on XLE. Been telling you guys to avoid this. I just don't like it. First area of interest would be at 82. That's really it. But lower lows there, it got hit. Well, again, we'll see if they try to save it up, scap it up tomorrow and save it. But right now, I'm just avoiding it. I don't like the pattern on this. Same thing with XOP. Finally came down and filled that gap. We talked about that for a while, for a couple of weeks. Finally got filled there. If this goes, you know, you got to go to double bottom in the 200 moving average. Below that, it's all the way down to 130. So just be aware of that on XOP. But outside move down there, outside move down on OIH as well. This was shaping up so nice, right? Had that nice, we filled the gap, right? And, you know, was putting in that consolidation. And then outside week down, I want to see that moving average go because I think this can go to 280 if it breaks down. I will say you could make a case right now, and it's early, just kind of eyeballing this. But take a look here. I'm going to go to a weekly so we can draw it in better. You know, you could make a case you got a little falling wedge there. So that could end up being bullish if this area can hold. So we'll watch that going into the end of the week, but and you got the 200 there. So let's say you slice the 200, they pop it back up. You could go back up to this trend line. That's certainly possible. So keep an eye on that, and we'll watch that, obviously, going into the end of the week here. It's still early. CCJ, nothing going on here right now, still doing that consolidation. URNM holding those moving averages, so that's holding up okay. Still a lot of resistance around 48, but, you know, you got higher lows there, and it's hanging in there for now. Net gas continuing to pull back. Came off the lows nicely, and again, into that green bar here. We'll see what kind of pattern that puts in by the end of the week. I still like the weekly setup here for a move higher. Dollar index. So the dollar getting a little bit of a rebound. You know, we talked about this yesterday. Could it break this and then get a little bit of a pop there? And it is. It's but backing off of that. Excuse me, it's backing off of that 50 moving average. Again, the big level right now is 106.22. You close above that, then the dollar turns bullish again. You know, at least on the daily. So I don't like that we had that weekly kind of breakdown last week. I don't like closing below that. We had a nice kind of tight bull flag formation there. You close below that little candle. I don't like that. But again, like I keep saying, your positive is the trend is nicely up on the dollar. And it's more importantly, it's up on the monthly. And you can make a case that, again, it's early, but you can make a case all we did was just back check the 20 moving average on the monthly. If this holds up and closes back up here, there ain't nothing wrong. So just be aware of that with the DXY. But again, backing off the 50, and you guys know looking for, I'm not even going to say 104.50 anymore. I'm just going to say 104 for right now would be kind of your near-term level. So gold here backing off a little bit. It is coming off the lows, holding that 20 moving average. No real problems though. Nice little bit off the 20, like little micro local double bottom kind of pattern. You could make a case too. You got a little 4-hour head and shoulders there. So, you know, we'll see if it back checks here and then goes lower. Let me just calculate that. So that would take us down to guess where? I've been saying 1950, right? Well, 1940, and then that takes you back to the trend line, right? So that would line up, and that's pretty symmetrical. So we'll look and see if that happens. Watch the PMs here over the next couple of days, but that would be a level of interest to me on gold. And then obviously 1900 is your next big area. Past that, silver pulling back a little bit as well. There's still a lot of support right here. I don't think this is ready to break down yet, if it's going to, but on the weekly, I still like this as an inside bar pattern. So no real problems with silver. But again, a weaker day. Today, platinum, another outside move down, going to close below that green bar. So that might want to go back to double bottom after all. We'll keep an eye on that. And then palladium finally getting there. Look at, got the volume there. So we're starting to capitulate potentially. Been waiting for this for a while. You know, one more good dump out on this thing would be, I would get very interested. So we'll see what palladium does here, but it's sub 1100 finally, and I would love for it to just pierce that 200-month moving average. But either way you look at it, this is a big support level on palladium. So, you know, I would favor accumulation here if you really want to. But as a swing trade, I would probably want to be a little bit more precise. But that is it's starting to get there. We've been talking about this for like 3-4 months now. Actually, I think we've been talking about it since early summer, if I'm not mistaken. But it's finally getting down there. So nice to see that. Definitely keeping that on the radar more closely. Copper outside move, but closed back inside of yesterday's candle. On volume, I still don't love the pattern on copper. And again, it looks like a weekly bear flag to me with a back check to the 20 and 200. Still looking for 340, maybe even 330. Bitcoin makes new highs today. So, you know, I would prefer it to consolidate more, but, you know, it's Bitcoin. So it's the next big level is 40K, and there's a wall there. So if we get up there, that's where we're going to look. Right there. So that was your weekly breakdown candle. There's a wall there. That's really all I can say here. I can't tell you to chase it because it's overbought already and has not pulled back. But it's holding up really well and it's acting well. And again, like we talked about the other day, the alts are acting better. That pattern on ETH is actually not terrible. Honestly, I think I kind of like the alts a little bit better if this can consolidate a little bit more. You know, ETH to 2000. I think that's definitely possible. Doge had that big move yesterday, inside pattern today. Polkadot back above those moving averages. Again, lots of supply up here, but it's acting well here. Litecoin, you know, that can get to 80. So that's acting well here. But again, I can't chase it when it's up as much as it is. But next big level is 40K. So Bitcoin looks all right. Caveat though, if we get ETF news, I think it's sell the news. Short, just in the near term anyway. Anyways, spiders here, SPX. So we're coming off the highs of the day, right? Nothing going on here. We got it closing about 7 minutes. What are we hitting at? Yeah, we'll probably close right at 43.75. So right around this area here. Market's very overbought, but guess what? A lot of people are saying the same thing. A lot of people are trying to short, and a lot of people are looking for a pullback. So I think we got to go a little bit higher here. That's kind of my thought process right now. At the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if we pulled back and had a big down day tomorrow. We do have a bond auction going on. Lately, the market has been very sensitive to interest rates. In the last 3 days, the market's basically been asleep, right? And this is kind of when the real bear attacks happen, when, you know, the market's asleep and not paying that much attention here when the volume is light. It doesn't take much for them to push this market down. So just be aware of that. But again, still looking for these levels up here to get hit, and I think they do. At some point in the near future. Anyways, guys, for more, I'm going to wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me at carnivoretrades.com. I will talk to you guys all tomorrow.